first weekend of October at Patriots Point in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Detroit City away to Charleston Battery, and tonight's match is presented by the Medical University of South Carolina. MUSC aims to empower the state and beyond through innovative research, education, and commitment to patient care. A lot of men in pink. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Day, and it's a big matchup in the Eastern Conference with Ricky Lopez, Espin, Mike Watts. Two teams have already clinched. Detroit can join that group. Miami, of course, already eliminated. Charleston trying to hang on to a top 2 spot. If they win this game, they may extend the Players' Shield race one more weekend, but Louisville can end it later tonight. Win, lose, or draw. Now for this Charleston team, as long as they can stay home, they have a chance to make a tremendous run in the postseason like they did a year ago.
They've only dropped 5 points throughout this 2024 campaign, but it's been so impressive, Mike, because yes, you see how good they are in front of goal, but it's been really their pressure, their ability to be efficient at making teams very uncomfortable. This Ben Pyramid side pressed all the right buttons to get the best out of his side here at home.
So Charleston continues to perform well at home, and how about the new record holder, single season goal record in the championship? Nick Marcanek, a brace against the Rowdies last time out.
Yes, you see the goals, it's all impressive, but I want to talk about his ability to combine with the players around him. The 5 assists can show that he can do a little bit of everything in the attacking third for Ben Pyramid side. He's going to start on the right-hand side, but left-footed by trade, so come centrally, look for him to ask a lot of questions of the Detroit City back line.
Meanwhile, Detroit could clinch a playoff spot here today. Their eyes have been on the top 4 since preseason. If they win this game, they'll look to the Hartford-Loudoun game, which kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight, and simply hope for a winner. No draws, aren't we all? Now, as it pertains to Detroit, Maxi Rodriguez, the guy who stirs the drink.
And everything going forward is going to come through Maxi Rodriguez. We'll see him play a little bit higher and a more of an attacking role, so look for him to pull the strings. He needs to be the best player on the field for Detroit City to have any hopes if they want to take all 3 points back north.
And try and ensure a top 4 playoff position and a home game in the quarterfinals in the Eastern Conference playoffs, which are about a month away now. Teams down to their final 4 or 5 games, and this one's got a lot on the line. Charleston and Detroit are coming your way next.
Charleston is located in the low country of South Carolina.
The history here, it runs deep, and can't imagine being anyplace else.
This place is magical.
Passing the select ball over, here we go. Charleston and Detroit. Tonight's game presented by MUSC Health. Patriots Point. The Battery try and hang into the top 2, and Detroit tries to clinch a playoff spot with a win. A little help later tonight. Ricky Lopez, Espin, Mike Watts, starting lineups from Michelob Ultra. And Charleston only the one change in midfield.
Ikaza will play next to Chris Allen. Arturo Rodriguez will be the attacking sided midfielder, and Torres and Marcanic look for them to come a little bit central to supply MD Myers and Dos Santos and Mark Segvers. What does their relationship look like in their decision making? You have to pick and choose very wisely when you join the attack, and look for Graham Smith and Leland Archer to stay compact and keep everything in front of them.
Conversely, for Detroit, they don't make a lot of changes because it's not all that big a roster, but Danny Dicchio has squeezed the absolute best out of this group.
And my eyes go to that middle three, Rodriguez, Murphy, and Jope. What does that balance look like? Jope will play a little bit more box to box. Murphy will be that security blanket in front of that back four. And then that front three, you want them to express themselves and ask a lot of questions of Charleston Battery, testing their shapes with runs in behind.
Well, it's a great crowd, as you'd anticipate on this Saturday. A lot of pink, Breast Cancer Awareness Day, alongside MUSC Health. Charleston Battery, only one loss at home all season. They've only dropped the 5 points. Second best offense, third best defense in the championship against this Detroit City side that's been known to be scrappy, and yet they've moved from 8th place into 3rd place over the last couple of months. They finished 8th last year and came away with the stunner upset of the postseason over Pittsburgh, the Players' Shield champion last year. They could spoil Louisville's party tonight. Charleston, with a victory, would put the pressure on Louisville to have to win tonight against Indy to secure the Players' Shield. That game kicking off at 7 o'clock. Detroit also can officially lock up that playoff berth with a win. Far more than just an effort to spoil. Referee ready to get the action started as they count it down at Patriots Point.
2, 1, let's go!
Here we go on this Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock kickoff in the East. Charleston taking on Detroit. Here's Reese Williams. Ricky, I think this is going to be a really interesting tactical game because Charleston has a couple different clubs in their bag. If they want to sit and absorb and try and hit on the counter, very effective. If they try and press you to death, very effective in that format too. What do you anticipate?
I think for Detroit City and Danny Dicchio, decision-making and how clean can they deal with the pressure underneath for Ben Pierman, because he knows this side, they want to be compact, they want to play this game and get a result here. So for Charleston Battery, how do you take this game to Detroit? That's going to be really interesting, this tactical battle.
Well, you can see Dicchio's dome in the background. Throw for Williams. Speared away with Ben Morris pursuing. Here's Ikaza, brought down by the league's single-season goal record holder, Nick Marcanic. Not just where he ended up breaking the record to do it at home. He's been so good on home ground this year, Marcanic. To do it against the Rowdies of all teams, to do it with a brace, 26-27, scored about 10 days ago, setting the league record. What a remarkable campaign.
Just so ruthless and instinctual in the way that he likes to operate in around that 18-yard box, can score every single type of goal in the book. And well-deserved move at the end of this season.
Starting to walk it forward. Instead reversing through Chris Allen. Mentioned in the lineup, Jay Chapman moved to the bench. The good news is Aaron Malloy available again, came off the bench for Charleston after missing the better part of 2 months due to injury. A loaded bench in terms of the midfield tonight for Charleston. Off on the right-hand side. Lofting for Myers, and there's Reese Williams. Corner coming for the Battery.
I had the chance to speak with Ben Pierman ahead of this match, and I asked what was some of the keys to be successful. He said, look, we have to be really patient in our build-out phase, and their third-man run as Segvers comes centrally, so does Marcanic. So that affords Arturo Rodriguez to come around the corner, and especially when you're talking about a back five that we've seen Detroit City try to implement here, changing the point of attack at a very high tempo is going to be crucial.
This corner kick brought to you by the Pepper Law Firm, official legal services partner of the Charleston Battery. Ball driven across, punched away, by Steinwasser. Still work to be done. Bryant through Morris. Turned over to Juan David Torres. Rings down into the corner, Morris. This field has taken some serious abuse. Of course, the rain from Helene, and this also the home, the College of Charleston soccer team as well. Combination of rain and wear and tear. Put it together nicely, all things considered. Certainly thoughts with all those who dealt with the devastating impacts of that hurricane over the last few weeks.
You asked me what this game was going to look like tactically for Detroit City. You have Villanueva and Reese Williams. That's his two wing backs. So your back three of Amu Mensah, Carroll, and Michael Bryant. So understanding the balance is going to be really important for Danny Dicchio's side. And then you have Murphy and Maxi Rodriguez underneath Job. So a bit of a box in the terms of that central location underneath Morris and Connor Rutz. So for Danny Dicchio, a little bit more defensive in the way that he approached the early part of this match.
There is Danny Dicchio, 49-year-old Englishman, taking over the team from Trevor James, who advanced into the sporting director role following 4 years as the head coach at Detroit City. Of course, the head coach prior to Trevor James, Ben Pierman. Torres, ball taken away. Reese Williams got a touch to it. Jope knocks it down. Mechanic pursues and held up by Rodriguez. Rodriguez fouled. Offered in over the top. Villanueva circulates toward Williams. Hounded away by Dos Santos. Rodriguez keeps it alive. Through Amu Mensah now. Bryant. Rutz the target. Kaza swarmed, and Greg Dopka with a light whistle.
As Danny Dicchio elected to overload the center part of the field, Ikaza and Chris Allen need to be really smart at their decision-making, understanding when to play through the pressure, but when to play around it as well. You do not want to get your pocket picked, especially so deep in your defensive third.
Fans banging away the American Cancer Society, MUSC, and the Battery combining the pink shirts, also the pink pregame warm-ups. The goalkeeper kit today is in pink as well. Honor of breast cancer awareness. Soaring along, Allen. This Charleston team has actually hit the point total that they managed last year. They finished third on 59 points. Reached the final, played on home ground, as Battery fans know all too well. Fell in excruciating fashion, not only the equalizer they conceded, but also in the penalty kick shootout. Steinwasser puts it down. The holdover from the Ben Pierman era in Detroit.
It's a great ball.
On to Ikaza. Torres. Steinwasser.
Those types of passes from Leland Archer and Graham Smith are going to be really important to the success going forward for Charleston Battery. If you can take out about 4 players, especially the midfielders for Detroit City. Now you can create an overload, and that's when you can get Nick Markenik a little bit more involved in those pockets of space.
Santos hounded by Williams. That's a delight from Sekbers. Smith. Dos Santos. Archer, Sekbers, Allen, glides through Murphy but lost it to touch. I think, you know, I go back to March, April, May and think about what these teams spoke about, where they wanted to be in this moment. You could argue both more or less in the vicinity of that ultimate goal. Ultimately, Charleston will be the last team eliminated from the Players' Shield if they do in fact fall today, or watch Louisville claim it with a victory in Indianapolis tonight. But right there at the end of the regular season, and in theory, starting to peak and get healthy at the right time, that was the ultimate end game. Detroit was always seeking that top 4 position and make someone go to Keyworth and beat them on their ground, which is hugely infrequent.
A lot of storylines, obviously, first weekend of October, but for the Charleston Battery side, Ben Pyramid, the first message, the first meeting in 2024 had to be like, look, we want to play for trophies. We want to challenge for trophies in USL Championship, whether that was the Players' Shield or the ultimate prize with this, the USL Championship. And for Detroit City, like you said, Mike, we've been there at Keyworth, how good an environment they are, how good they are at home. So playing at home was going to be one of the kind of the benchmarks for Detroit City, and so far so good. Big opportunity to do that here on the road.
Long ball here for Rutz. He's had a nice run of form late in the season. Rutz changing gears. Villanueva toward Morris. Murphy. I might leave this conversation with egg on my face. Creighton, regular season or tournament champion in the Big East?
Yep.
Both? Either?
Regular season, never tournament. At least not in my time.
This runs all the way down to Grinwis. You know, we've had a lot of conversations with coaches of late. Which would you rather have? Take a look at the injury report presented by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. No Palma for Charleston on this occasion. Becerra, Sheldon, Levi's, all key players not in the team for Detroit, though no injuries reported. We've had a lot of chats with coaches of late. What's your preference, right? Would you prefer to win the regular season and say we were the best over the length of the season, or would you rather win that ultimate trophy? Sort of the American playoff system rearing its head.
I see arguments from both sides. I mean, you can look at the regular season, but then the argument is, look, you didn't really play everyone in the Western Conference, let's say for Lou City, right? But then at the end, who remembers who won the regular season? Everyone kind of remembers who won the ultimate prize with his USL Championship, so it's a give and take. And it's really interesting to get kind of the mindsets from every single coach in USL Championship.
Steinwasser rolls it out. In the early days of Detroit and Nisa, I mean, they won everything. It didn't matter what the trophy was, it was theirs. probably argue this is the best Detroit City side assembled to this point. Credit to Trevor in the sporting director role and Danny Dicchio in the technical box. Here's Segbers.
I think the space that Charleston Battery wants to get into is right off the shoulder of James Murphy in front of that back three. Because now you're asking the question for Detroit City, is James going to drop a little bit deeper? Do one of the three center backs, Amumenta or Stephen Carroll, step off the line? And that's when Nick Markanek is just so clever at occupying the space that was vacated, whether it is Arturo Rodriguez or MD Myers occupying the center backs. But so far, so good defensively for Detroit City.
Turnover forced Rutz. The run broke down. A little miscommunication.
And it's a right ball from Connor Rutz. Joe needs to continue his run. No need to try to wait for this ball to come to feet.
Foul from Rodriguez. Greg Dopka is one of the sternest referees I've ever seen speaking to players in this league. Don't know that I could truly explain the breadth of it, but how many guys are kind of like, oh, gee willikers, oops. You just got a piece of it, and Greg Dopka just laid down the laws of the game.
Stop. Undivided attention from Maxi Rodriguez.
Torres, too high for Markanek. Battery Matches, the perfect place to make lifelong memories with your friends and family. Your group of 10 or more can enjoy discounted tickets, exclusive on-field experiences, and private hospitality areas to catch the match. Visit charlestonbattery.com to learn more and plan a memorable night at Patriots Point. Battery go away to Pittsburgh, then they finish with 2 home games in the regular season. They are guaranteed a home game in the quarterfinals, or they're right on the verge of it, I should say. So 3, maybe even 4. This will roll wide. They'll see Rhode Island on the 19th. And they'll finish with Loudoun, a pesky team that may have a lot more to play for on the last day of the year. The Battery are about to enter no man's land, right? If they get a win here over Detroit, they're going to be too far away from Louisville to catch them, but they've lapped Detroit enough that they don't have to worry about getting caught from behind.
And that was a topic on our phone call with Ben Pyramid. He said, look, we're kind of in this gray area that, like you said, we're too far from number 1, but we have a cushion between us and number 3. So how do we create our own motivation to continue to stay hunger? Ahead of this match, they had about a week off. He said, look, we gave the guys five days off to go and get away from the game, get away from the city, to do whatever they wanted to do, in hopes that they can just give a little bit more energy on the back end right before this playoff push.
The good news is, based on the early returns from Charleston today, they didn't go the Rodman effort. Pings off with Williams there. Allen. Here's Archer. Check out all the exciting postseason action. The USL playoffs presented by Terminix kicks off in November. The top teams will battle it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLChampionship.com for all the latest playoff information.
This is the area of the field that I was just talking about, right off the shoulder of Murphy and Maxi Rodriguez. So now Stephen Carroll needs to step off his line. Needs to make a decision. Does he let the play go, or does he create a foul? Back end of it, you see Nick Marcanic making a run from outside in. So how do you continue to find that little area of the field that's going to be really important for Ben Pierman?
Stripped away by Jope. Works in on Archer. Able to slice in. There's Ikaza. Backtracking out of midfield.
Fantastic recognition from Ikaza. Understand he needs to drop about 20 yards to do his defensive duties. But it's interesting looking at this Detroit City side, especially in that middle three. Jope starting this game a little bit more in the attacking sense because he gives you the legs to be box for box to turn his defense into offense. An example right there with how explosive he can be.
Juan David Torres swerves the ball over top of Marcanic. Segbers is there. Segbers past Marcanic. Toro Rodriguez was waiting in the penalty area. Marcanic was trailing. th minute, and not much to show in terms of efforts on frame. Battery off that 3-1 win against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Pumping the brakes near the end line. Amu Mensah pestering into Myers. Covered now by Morris. All the way back to Steinwasser. That fell to Tad on the inadvertent side. Dos Santos. Allen. Allen. Slot Myers. Archer forcing his way into the picture. Offside flag raised on MD Myers, who probably will never get the credit he deserves this season for a 13-goal campaign.
He's given this Charleston Battery side a different look going forward because he's been the focal point as he requires so much attention. Now Nick Marcanic has the freedom to go and search the game. Physical but very soft feet. MD Myers has his link-up play, 13 goals, 3 assists. Like you mentioned, he's been massive for the success for Charleston Battery.
Steinwasser has to put it out of play. The M&M boys, Marcanic and Myers, as Nicholas Murray identifies them. The all-time record for a duo scoring in a single season. 40 goals. Patently absurd. You think back, right? Nashville, it was Belmar and Rios and Lancaster, where you brought in 3 guys who'd all scored 15 or more in a given season, but to actually orchestrate that within one team is an entirely different animal. So for Charleston to have 2 guys on that kind of run in the same year, not sure that'll happen again anytime soon.
Talks about the talent, but also talks about how unselfish both of the players are to work together to really unbalance opponents in their back line. It's been fantastic to see. That's a nice little interchange here.
Oh, Rodriguez found that trailing run from Villanueva. Jab stepping and now firing. Comes high, good from Murphy to retain. Williams. Clearly a pass to Villanueva. hear the shout from Danny Dicchio there. Secure it, retain possession. Now they've got their shape again. Murphy pings over to Villanueva. Villanueva, the give and go. Angles that through, there's Grinwis.
Detroit City has shown their best when they start on one side of the field and end on the other, whether it is Reese Williams or Villanueva on that far side. But as this ball comes across, you have two options here. Hit it first time back across is that 18-yard box, but also for Danny Dicchio, there needs to be more numbers in around that 18-yard box. It's only Connor Rutz versus this back four for Charleston Battery. In the end, not enough quality. Easy save for Gwynwis.
Let's make some noise, guys. Come on.
But it's been methodical when Detroit City gets on the ball. They slowed the game down, so that affords the two wingbacks to be high and wide. And now Connor Rutz, Maxi Rodriguez, and Joe can go and search the game and fill in the gaps underneath Morris. We talked about the balance in between Chris Allen and Ikaza. Needs to be a little bit better. You cannot get caught on the same side of the field, the two pivots for Charleston Battery.
Detroit fans know that view quite well. Ben Pierman extolling the virtue of the fourth official. Cross crafted through. Wanda V. Torres cycles it back in to Steinwasser. They found this guy out of nowhere. He wandered into a practice, or I suppose a family member did, said, you got to give this kid a chance to try out. Tryouts already happened. They let him come train for a few days. It took about an hour to figure out this guy is going to have a chance to be pretty good this year.
5 goals, 6 assists later, a starter for Ben Bierman in the Charleston Battery side. Impressive.
And a reminder to always leave the gate open when you train. You never know what's going to wander through. Regrettably for Charleston, sometimes it's actually a raccoon. I don't know that it's really regrettable. They seem to have made great light of it. Well, they talk about the raccoon being Pedro, but also their public address announcer today announced himself as Pedro. Taken on by Arturo Rodriguez. Rodriguez going all the way in. Skitters across. Amu Mensah on the doorstep, able to get it away. And that's a massive collision and a free kick to Detroit. And a yellow card to Juan David Torres after the fact as well. And Murphy, massive collision. It saw both he and Ikaza go airborne.
Starts with the sloppy touch here from Murphy, but if you're Arturo Rodriguez, you need to pull the trigger right now. As you're just so aware with Stephen Carroll, you try to play him and not the ball. As this ball comes back across, I'll tell you what, I think James Murphy goes down very easily. Juan David Torres does not take kindly to it. But I do think Arturo Rodriguez playing underneath MD Myers, he can find some success coming from the weak side in and looking for him to combine with the players around him. A little bit of a glimpse of how explosive Charleston Battery can be, and for Detroit City, a warning side. When you receive this ball, your hips have to be open if you are James Murphy, so you can go out the other way, but also so you can see the pressure.
Yellow number 5 of the year for Juan David Torres. This was the craziest, longest discipline report I've seen in recent memory. What an absolute disaster. This chipped from long range. Grinwis give it a cursory wave. Jolt from the halfway line, why not?
We've seen him stretch his legs underneath. Ben Morris has 2 decisions here. to play into the path of Connor Rutz, but elects to go for the spectacular. Just too much weight. He's shown he can be an outlet for Detroit City. Played into him. He's going to be direct. He's going to be vertical in nature. Joe Biz.
Angling through, that's cleared by a sliding archer. By the way, the reason I bring up the disciplinary report, it did actually have some weight in that moment. Murphy saw a yellow card rescinded because of the good behavior initiative credit. 5 games without a yellow card, make it 3 without. Anywho, back to 6 cautions, no longer on accumulation warning. No player in this game is on warning. Although Memphis has 3 that have to be worried about it. Marlon, Akeem Ward, and Lucas Turchi. And then, you know, there's actually a coach in the yellow card accumulation column. Hartford's Brendan Burke. I've never been less surprised in my life. This will eke out a play. We'll tell you, you can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN, nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Select matches, including the championship final, available in Spanish throughout the rest of the season. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Friends at CBS will handle the playoffs from a national TV perspective. Games in every round, including the championship final. They're on big CBS.
Talked about it a little bit earlier about the hips for a center midfielder. The way that Maxi Rodriguez recovers this ball, he's already facing on one side of the field. So now he has to take 2 and 3 touches. In order to do that, Chris Allen has the ability to close down the space. It's a minor detail, but if you can do this in 2 touches, then you can find success to find Reese Williams coming around the corner.
What's the old adage in midfield? You want to see 3 of the corner flags when you receive?
100%. You see the frustration from Maxi Rodriguez right after because he knew it. If he receives that ball, lets it come across his body, takes his first touch positive, then he has 2 options. Go on himself, but put play into Reese Williams, who makes a fantastic overlapping run.
Mensa just made a new friend. Speaking of making new friends, the Battery are back at Patriots Point on Saturday, October 19th, taking on Rhode Island FC. First visit for the expansion team to South Carolina. Kickoff that match 7:30 Eastern. Tickets available now via SeatGeek, Battery's exclusive ticketing provider. Get your tickets now. Save up to $10 per seat when you buy in advance. Head to tickets.charlestonbattery.com today. Timing is everything. You get that Rhode Island team at the beginning of the year and they couldn't, I mean, it was a wet match in a dark cave. But goodness, just took a little while to get going. They certainly have found it. Marcanic off the throw, through to Myers, heavy touch. A little loose, otherwise he could have had a go at Steinwasher.
It's a rough challenge.
Torres, 3 barrel rolls. And James Murphy's recent good behavior has been extinguished.
Just no need to come in this rash on this ball. There's 3 players in a Detroit City jersey around Torres here. Just move your feet, use the silent as a 3rd defender. Become a little bit overzealous, you get yourself into the book. Gonna be frustrating for Danny Dikia right in front of him.
If he gets another yellow, that'd be a different animal. He would miss the game at home against Indy next weekend. But that yellow alone, not enough, given the good behavior yellow taken off his record for 3 consecutive games without. Vantage played, Rodriguez, Torres, able to jab inside. Torres, that's blocked. A twin slide from Detroit leads to a corner.
Just so instinctual from Torres. He knows this touch is going to send him deep into that corner, so Michael Bryant's momentum is already against him. Chop it back to his least preferred right foot. Good action from Stephen Carroll to come across and cut down the angle.
Another Pepper Law Firm corner kick for the Battery. Oh boy. All right, here we go. Torres. Rodriguez. The worst feeling on a corner. A throw. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
Is it worse to have a corner end up as a throw or a shot?
Shot.
It's a shot, right?
100%.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Those are the ones that, when it doesn't come off, you look straight at the ground, tie your shoes a little bit.
Yeah, it was the laces. It's always the laces. 35 minutes gone, and with that indignity in mind, we can tell you that Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. It's Select, the player's choice. And Select, never the reason why it's a throw because of your scatter shot. There's a lot of arguing going on here. And a yellow card shown by Greg Dopka. That is 3 in the last 10 minutes or so between the teams, and Rodriguez.
Just watch the right shoulder area of Villanueva. He just drops it at the last second, catches Arturo Rodriguez. It's a tough one because he actually gets the first touch on the ball. I think it's a follow-through that catches Rodriguez.
And I think a lot of people immediately say contact above the neck, ... he's leaning his head in a position in that place that can win a foul, but you know, Villanueva jumping for that and extending contact with his shoulder in that way in no way was anything less than trying to get the ball.
And it's a really tricky one. You can see how it's a foul, but you can also see how it's not a foul. I do think the angle that Greg Doppa takes on it, that's what really gets Villanueva in trouble, because the first glance at it, you just see he does drop his shoulder a little bit. Picks up a yellow card, so him and James Murphy, both players for the visiting side in the book.
Villanueva and Murphy now booked one way, Torres the other. And it is Torres over the ball.
It's our nightmare to deal with if you are Nate Steinwasser. The amount of traffic right in front of your goal mouth, any sort of deflection can cause some issues.
Torres with a lot of venom, and Maxi Rodriguez got in the way. That'll be a corner.
That near post area is golden real estate for a free kick in that location. If an attacking player gets on the end of it, it's a simply flick on, but if a defending player like Max Rodriguez does, no nonsense in his decision making.
Charleston awarded a corner kick. It's brought to you by the Pepper Law Firm. Driven in, skew into the air, Rodriguez chasing. Dos Santos stayed on the ground. It does leak out to Job. Williams. Now Amu Mensah.
Just so comfortable in tight spaces, Rodriguez is. But yet again, it starts with a little bit of overcomplication from Detroit City, trying to do too much in this area of the field. James Murphy comes across. His body position is just not right, so now he has to play back into this trafficked area. And this is something you can't teach from Arturo Rodriguez. Eludes Maxi Rodriguez, one, Ben Morris, and James Murphy as well. Good call from Greg Dopka to let the play continue and bring it back.
Rodriguez take the set piece for Charleston. Must have been the win. It was a game last night in the championship, and the folks in Phoenix are getting a bit uneasy. A 2-1 Monterey Bay win that keeps them alive in the great pillow fight for the 8th seed in the West. That was the first time Monterey Bay had scored in 7 games. Good measure of pair. 2-1 win over Phoenix on the road. And the Rising fans are displeased. Reigning champion on the cusp of missing the postseason now. All the other action in the East comes tonight. And that 7 o'clock hour might well be a witching hour as it pertains to some of these seeding battles. Kaza went down lightly. Rodriguez got by Allen, inside from Morris. Allen intervenes. Walk through the full scoreboard for the championship at halftime. Make sure you stick around. There's a great piece for breast cancer awareness coming up at the break as well. Dos Santos sliding in. Williams hung on. There's Rutz. Dos Santos.
First it's Reese Williams dropping down and dealing with the overload of Nate Dos Santos. And then it's a pure will from Maxi Rodriguez to continue to close down space on Juan David Torres, to not giving him an inch to pick up his head. And now Detroit City gets on the ball a little bit more and slows the game down yet again.
Charleston possess. There's a bit of irony to the fact 11-1-1 at home. This one of their 3 remaining home games, the Battery. If they win out, they would set the USL Championship single season home wins record. If not for the fact that Louisville set it on Wednesday night against Miami. You know, so often we look at the game in hand and we go, well, you know, you never know how that's going to go. And you can't really point to one game and say that was the game in hand. But Louisville's last midweek game of the year was Miami. So I suppose the game in hand was the free square.
Team that's lost 26 times
Holy
in
smokes.
this season.
Got to feel bad for the home team announcers for that team, huh? Louisville, their 14th home win, and goals 50, 51, and 52 at Lynn Family Stadium this year, passing Phoenix's wild 2019 team, the team that had the 20-game win streak for most home goals in a single season as well. Trudging down the right side, rolled in. Amu Mensah dealt with that. But that's sort of the brutal fact of this, right? You know, Charleston, 1 or 2 slip-ups, and instead of getting to play at arguably the best home field advantage in league history, is hung up in their Stein washer, will have to probably go to the team that is going to be the best home field advantage in league history. Brutal. That 13 had stuck around for a while. You go all the way back. Orlando in 2014 initially set the 13 mark. Then Monarchs, Rising, Indy, El Paso, Tampa Bay, Louisville a couple of years ago, Pittsburgh last year. All 13 home wins, and Louisville picking up their 14th on Wednesday night. They've dropped one result at home all season. Nuts.
Move!
It's Jope. Rutz. Back and through for Morris, down the left side. Villanueva seeking Rutz.
Okay.
Yet again, it comes from the wide area. Villanueva, it's a fantastic fake out, head up the whole way, and Connor Rutz makes a really interesting run off the shoulder of Archer between him and Graham Smith. But yet again, he's the only attacking player for Detroit City in the attacking 18-yard box. You need Maxi Rodriguez, you need Reese Williams to come and join him. Far too easy for Graham Smith just to come across and deny a goal-scoring opportunity.
Murphy, Pepper Law Firm corner. Ooh, Williams, good slide. Villanueva targeted instead. Segbers intercepts. Halfway through this elongated stoppage minute.
A reminder that the official time is kept from the field by the referees. Thank you.
Charleston walks it ahead. Juan David Torres, that picked off. Closing in on the full minute of stoppage time presented by MUSC Health. And that's it. Scoreless at the break. And Ricky, I hate to say you told us so, but you told us so.
Just not clean enough from both sides for Detroit City. Defending, you've been really good, you've been really stingy, but for Ben Pierman in this Charleston Battery side, the ball needs to move quick. You need to be more decisive in that final third. MD Myers, Nick Marcanic, Juan David Torres, start to express yourself. And for Danny Dicchio in the attacking phase of the game, I will not be surprised if we see him dip into his bench and maybe bring a little bit more of a pocket presence underneath Ben Morris.
Coming up at halftime, why Catherine Chase says it's important that men wear pink in the month of October. We'll look at scores around the championship. We'll show you all the highlight of the first half. Detroit and Charleston scoreless at the intermission.
Innovation means training tomorrow's leaders in the latest technologies, because we know the next idea to change the future of medicine may well come from them. At the Medical University of South Carolina, innovation is who we are.
Hola.
¿Alguna otra cerveza?
No, Michelob Ultra.
Ok, ahora vuelvo.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. Like in 2005, when lottery proceeds helped purchase new school buses that kept South Carolina students on the road to success. Because arriving safely to school every day is the first important step on their journeys to the careers and lives they always dreamed of. When you play the lottery, you're helping fund the futures of students all over our state, which is why education is our middle name.
Innovation means developing novel therapies for patients today and taking the first steps toward life-changing discoveries decades in the future. At the Medical University of South Carolina, innovation is who we are.
Charleston and Detroit meeting in week 31 of the championship season, halftime at Patriots Point. Pink everywhere you look, including in tonight's pregame warm-ups. Special kits as the Battery and MUSC have come together to raise breast cancer awareness. Here is Charleston resident and breast cancer survivor Catherine Chase on the impact of these players wearing pink.
My name's Catherine Chase. I am a lifelong Charlestonian. Born and raised, went to the College of Charleston and the Charleston School of Law. I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 35 years old and have been considered cured since 2015. The reason that I believe that breast cancer research is so important is because I was a beneficiary of the drug Herceptin. This drug was developed in the 90s, and women who had this type of breast cancer in the 80s and 90s had a far lower survival rate. Men Wearing Pink is just helping support women. Everybody has a daughter, a sister, a mother, and it helps remind them this is important. When I was first diagnosed and going through my chemotherapy, it helped to know that there were other people that were truly concerned about this and cared about fundraising to find research so that maybe my chances of living would be better. Maybe the treatment would be better. Thank you so much, Charleston Battery fans, for coming out and supporting the American Cancer Society, the Charleston Battery, and the Men Wear Pink campaign. As a breast cancer survivor, it means so much to know that my fellow Charlestonians are supporting me and supporting these efforts to fundraise. I look forward to seeing men in these pink kits walk in the Battery, at the dog park, on Patriots Point. I hope to see y'all everywhere, and I look forward to seeing y'all at the games. And thank you so much for your efforts to help support us.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Recentra bien el balón dentro del área. ¡Hombre, es el segundo! La combinación es buena. Se canta el 1-1. ¡De lo canto! ¡No te puedo creer! Increíble, Felipe. Y señoras y señores, la USL Championship.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
Points. Louisville just has to match the result against Indy 11 today in whatever format they clinch the Players' Shield. Unbelievably, Ricky, for the first time,
really, when I saw that set, I shook my head and I was like, there's no way. But you go down, Hugo Faru, what a fantastic result that was for Loudoun United at the switchbacks. Khalil Medcard gets on the end of it. Goalkeeper with an assist, fantastic, but how good has Dennis Sanchez been for the Las Vegas Lights? Going to turn that whole identity of the club around. Big opportunity against Orange County here tonight.
Yep, they're the late game tonight on ESPN Plus at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's take a look at scores around the league presented by Charleston International Airport. With over 5 million passengers annually, your low country adventure begins at CHS. Golasso Network has the Louisville-Indianapolis Proximity Association football contest, 7 p.m. Eastern. That could be for the Shield. We mentioned the score last night. Monterey Bay putting Phoenix to the sword.
Yeah, Monterey Bay, big 3 points, but if you are Diego Gomez, what an opportunity that goes wasted for Phoenix Rising at home. We talked about that Lou City side against Miami FC, but you go down tonight at 7 Eastern. Hartford Athletic and Loudoun United, both teams sitting at 8 and 9 in the Eastern Conference. Fantastic matchup there.
And the upcoming schedule around the championship for later tonight primarily features the Western Conference, and then Sunday, Birmingham and North Carolina.
We talked about how tight it is around that 8 line mark for the Western Conference. You have FC Tulsa there welcoming an El Paso Locomotive side who's been a little bit better under Wilmer Cabrera with Birmingham Legion, and Las Vegas Lights on the brink of history as they welcome Danny Stone and Orange County at sitting number 8 in the West.
And we've got a very famous person here. That's the Red Grasshopper, El Chapulín Colorado. More agile than a turtle, stronger than a mouse, nobler than a lettuce, and his coat of arms is a heart. Charleston, Detroit, scoreless at the break.
When we took this job, we knew that the future was the EX90.
A lot of people are excited about it.
We're really happy to see the EX90 on the line.
I'm Tamara Thompson and Rachel Gillum.
My name is Eric Brown.
And the Volvo EX90 was made by us.
L is for the way you look. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can love. Is all that I can give.
Return to the field. Score the winning shot. Beat your personal record. Team up with MUSC Health Sports Medicine for all your sports-related injury care and rehabilitation. MUSC Health is the official sports medicine provider for your favorite local teams. From semi-pro athletes to weekend warriors, our sports medicine team provides state-of-the-art injury prevention, treatment, surgery, and rehabilitation for athletes of all ages. Go where the pros go. Schedule an appointment today.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. Like in 2005, when lottery proceeds helped purchase new school buses that kept South Carolina students on the road to success. Because arriving safely to school every day is the first important step on their journeys to the careers and lives they've always dreamed of. When you play the lottery, you're helping fund the futures of students all over our state, which is why education is our middle name.
When we took this job, we knew that the future was the EX90.
A lot of people are excited about it.
We're really happy to see the EX90 on the line.
I'm Tamara Thompson and Rachel Gillum.
My name is Eric Brown.
And the Volvo EX90 was made by us.
I got to tell you, if I were trying to do this, my pants would be falling down. I don't have a belt at all. This is a serious fight in midfield.
That uppercut.
And there's no red card to come. Woo!
It's impressive.
Throw him down! All right, it was a throwdown between these teams of a different sort. Let's take a look at the first half. I mean, our halftime entertainment has been something else today. How about Detroit getting into the final third? This is as decent chance, I suppose, as they've had.
And it all came from the wide parts of the field, whether it was Reese Williams or Villanueva, but yet again, for Detroit City, you need more numbers in the attacking 18-yard box. Time after time, it's only Connor Rutz versus this back four for Charleston Battery. Makes life very easy for Ben Pierman and their defensive unit going back the other way. The pressure was something that we talked about in the open. This is when they created their best opportunities They force a turnover, and then they're quick in transitional moments. But if you're Arturo Rodriguez, you're just too hung up on Steven Carroll and his movement and his body. Just get this ball out of your body and have a strike on it. Exactly what I'm talking about. Right here is when you need to pull the trigger. But as you lean in for Steven Carroll, you're trying to create a little bit of contact. But look at the numbers for Detroit City. About 5 players doing the defensive side, and Danny Dicchio has to be very pleased with that side of this first half through his side.
Halftime stats brought to you by Heineken. Charleston and Detroit, not much of the attacking prowess.
Yeah, we talked about coming into this game what it was going to look like. Was it going to be wide open or was it going to be 0-0? You look at the possession, Detroit City not having a lot of the ball, but when they're on the ball, they slow the game down. They get numbers higher up the field. And for Charleston Battery, I do think that front four is going to be something that Ben Pierman wants to fix. You want them to be quicker. You want them to be more decisive in terms of their combination play, because when they've shown that, they cause some issues for Detroit City.
And so on to the second 45 we go, and that's an important inclusion here. It's going to be a process to stretch Aaron Malloy back out to 90-minute fit, and so he came off the bench in the second half. Last game, he comes in for Emilio Casa here today at halftime. Aaron Malloy, a player that everyone, to a man, coach-wise in this league says, I'd want him on my team. But I think the average fan, it takes a little bit of effort to understand quite his impact. Elvis Amo, who everyone understands his impact, comes in off the bench for Detroit.
I do think it's both attack-minded subs. First, we'll start with Ben Pierman and Aaron Malloy. He just gives the game a different feel. He's going to move the ball from left to right. He's the one who pulls the strings, and more of a conductor in that deep line position, can hit every single pass in the ball in the game, can break lines with his passing range. So by result of that, now you start to see that front four getting a little bit more involved in a more an attacking role. As for Elvis Amo and this Detroit City side, now he's just going to give you a big body. He's going to be a player that you can play into, have runners off of him. How good can he be at occupying Graham Smith and Leland Archer? Because if he is, now you can find success through Maxi Rodriguez.
Well, and it's interesting that they're going to combine Amo with Ben Morris up front. Get that pairing going. Replaced Murphy, who was on a yellow card. And seemed to have a fairly contentious relationship with a number of players on the field by the time he left. Sometimes better to take someone out of the situation before it gets worse. So Greg Dopka awaits the signal to begin play again. Detroit with a win and a non-draw later tonight in a match that starts at 7 o'clock could, in fact, clinch a playoff berth today. Loudoun playing Hartford this evening in Connecticut. Just need one of those two teams to win, paired with a victory of their own. Charleston on the cusp of locking up a top 2 spot, and this head-to-head win would go a long way in that.
Charleston Battery had a substitution. Number 8, Emilio Icaza, went out. Number 6.
Ball whipped in, punched away. Tampa Bay, due to the after effects of Hurricane Helene, actually have 5 games remaining, so they can reach 61 points. As unlikely as it is, if Charleston wins this game, they get to 62, and they would, in fact, own the number 2 seed. Still have that extraordinarily unlikely chance of the number 1. Could be extinguished when Louisville plays Indy later tonight. Would set them a sail in that hugely awkward position of playing 3 games with no chance to move their seeding around. Not that they'd rather be sitting lower in the standings and duking it out down the stretch, I suppose. Away from Segbers by Amo. And here's Rutz.
Detroit CDFC also had a substitution.
What's that's going to do for Detroit City as well? Ben Morris will actually play as the number 10 position. You have Maxi Rodriguez and Job as the double pivot. So expect Job to be a little bit more defense-minded, and Maxi Rodriguez has the freedom to go and search the game. So it's a bit of a different dynamic for Detroit City as they become a little bit more vertical.
Torres slips into the path of Steinwasher.
Alex, let's go! Come on! Come on!
Clever eking around Dos Santos. Williams pops it forward. Archer, no choice but out over the end line.
What a low energy game.
Well, that's another Pepper Law Firm corner kick for Detroit. This team slugging it out on this Saturday afternoon. Whipped in, header's in! Detroit grabs the opening goal 4 minutes out of halftime. And with the playoffs ever so close, Detroit smashes the header from Carroll to go ahead away at Charleston.
Set pieces are a fantastic way to kickstart the attacking phase of your game. Fantastic ball in from Villanueva, enough pace and enough shape that Stephen Carroll just needs to beat his individual marker, but take nothing away from the body control and the power generated at his hips to get his shoulder square and snap down on it. No chance for Grinwis to react quick enough. And Detroit City take a lead right after halftime here on the road.
It would put them on 51 points, 5 points clear. Tampa would have 2 games in hand for the 3 seed. It would also mean that if Loudoun and Hartford see a winner in that game, not a draw, Detroit would clinch postseason play. Do it a lot sooner than they did last year, where they eked in on the last day as the number 8 seed.
Well, you expect Charleston Battery to be a little bit more proactive and play quicker in between the lines, because they need to go out and chase the game now. And it's a really difficult thing when you play against Detroit City, a side that it's only conceded 29 times this season. They're going to get players behind the ball and make life very difficult for the home side.
Early service, Morris! Unable to get much on it. Villanueva knocks it down and cleared. Allen. Amu Mensah trying to break things off the dribble. Detroit last year scored only 30 goals. That's their 38th this year. Last year, they had the fewest goals in the league by 6. I spent a lot of last year contemplating if Detroit just scored 40 goals. I mean, a bottom quarter, but not in the basement. Where would they have landed in postseason? And we're about to find out that it's going to be in the top 3, maybe the top 4. magic number to clinch a top 4 spot would shrink to 6 for Detroit. Combination of points gained and dropped by either Rhode Island or Indy. So roll out of play, belong to Charleston for the throw. To Detroit now. Good time for us to tell you the Battery have a brand new look on and off the field this year, thanks to Hummel, the club's official jersey provider. Check out the full line of new Battery gear, including the custom 2024 kits, by visiting shop.charlestonbattery.com. Here's Morris. Tried to play square. Allen was wise. Pulled out by Malloy. To Santos.
Talk about the Charleston Battery side not being clean enough on the ball, but also off the ball, and their defensive structure to be a little bit lazy, slow to react. Your Ben Pierman, looking at your players with the experience, especially Chris Allen, Aaron Malloy, just a rise to raise the tempo on both sides of the ball. Very lackadaisical since coming out of the break.
Against this Detroit team with just 1 loss in their last 11. 5-1-5 in that span. It's going to be a tough out on this day. Joe. Sun starting to pour in a bit as we approach dusk. Long for a Mo. Down to Morris. Morris touches over. It's Rutz. Blocked. Rutz. Morris. Away by Allen.
Starts with a fantastic little move from Job to allow Reese Williams to pick up his head. But if you're Connor Rutz, your first touch needs to be cleaner. As it pops up, now that gives Aaron Malloy the ability to drop down and close that space. As an attacking player, especially in around that 18-yard box, how clean can your first touch be to set you up for success? Because if he gets that ball out of his body, it's a 1v1 between him and Grinwis. It's moments like that you'll talk to Danny Deacon and say we need to put teams away a lot earlier in matches. If it's 2-0, the hill turned into a mountain for Charleston Battery, but now they still have a little bit of life here.
Over to Villanueva. Crafts from his right into Grinwis. Comes back, Archer, Grinwis calling him off. Playing vertically, Steinwasser. The turn by Rodriguez and sprinting through midfield. Lacing it ahead, it's Morris. Heavy cutback, went for goal. Grinwis kept it in. We'll have to get there again. Oh, whoa. That's back pocket, no? Rutz, red card, absolutely sent off. Completely lost his head, saw the ball waiting on the end line and crashes in with his cleats into Grinwis with his studs exposed. Rutz is off, Detroit reduced to 10.
Starts with Ben Morris, makes the wrong decision, play this ball to the path of Connor Rutz, so you have to think a little bit of frustration. There's just no need. How rash he comes into this challenge. None of the ball, all of Grinwis. extremely late. No question whatsoever from Greg Dopka to see him red and send him into an early shower. That's to be extremely frustrating for Danny Dichio in Detroit City. Up a goal, down a man for the remainder of this match.
And I'm going to give Rutz a little bit of benefit here in saying that it looks like he pulls his legs back from the knees right as he's about to make contact, and the studs don't go in. But ultimately, you recognize the ball sitting there on the end line. If you get the first touch to that, you have a chance to put the game away, but you absolutely put the referee in an untenable situation with that.
Just no need. Yes, you see a little bit of life in the ball. It's about a yard or two away from Grinwis. There's just no need. Never going to win that battle, especially with how protected goalkeepers are in today's game. Any sort of touch, any sort of contact is going to go against you.
There was a yellow that went to Stephen Carroll for dissent after the red card was handed out. So that'll change the game pretty substantially. Segbers looking to go to Myers. Morris. Here's Amo. Wow. Job. Gonna go end line, held off by Archer. Well, we'll see if Detroit poke the monster a little bit here. This Charleston team nearly perfect at home this year. And now they've got the extra man for a little over half an hour.
Oh, what is it messaging from Ben Pierman to his side? Talking about the Detroit City side that they were up a goal as well, so they were going to get all 11 players behind the ball. They're reduced to 10. The ball needs to move that much quicker, because so many times, Mike, when you go up and man, complacency starts to creep in a little bit. I think you have more time and space to take extra touches, to overcomplicate things, but now it's the opposite. Throw that into the fold, but also you're down a goal, so your tempo, your intensity needs to be that much higher. Talk about Ben Morris, a player that, yes, you live and you die in the service that you get, but at the same time, you need to create your own service. You need to be decisive. You need to make this run off the shoulder of Leland Archer and make Joe play this ball into the path. As you second guess your movement, now there's no window, and Leland Archer just puts a body on Joe. No foul whatsoever, but it's little things like that that can be the difference of doubling your lead versus keeping this thing 1-0.
And if you come out of that red card stoppage and punch Charleston in the mouth in that moment, we talked hills becoming mountains. Ball forward in the path of Myers. Floats across, short of Torres, back from Morris, upfield Amo. You know, I think Amo coming into this game scoreless had a lot of value, but Amo coming into a game that now requires him to play the hold-up man with only 10 men, even more so perhaps.
Going to be crucial for Detroit City, because now he's going to be the reference point and the outlet, as they're going to be under immense pressure for the remainder of this game. Their first look needs to be into Elvis. How good can he be at holding off Leland Archer and Graham Smith, slowing the game down, drawing fouls, being physical as a number 9. All top priority for Danny Dichio and the visiting side. For Ben Pierman. I do think that number 10 position is a position that you need a little bit more from Arturo Rodriguez. Rodriguez has floated in and out of this game with how influential he's been. Playing in between the lines more often. That's how you get MD Myers on the ball a little bit more, him and Nick Marcanic. So will not be surprised if we see Ben Pierman dip into his bench earlier rather than later.
Charleston preparing some substitutions here in a moment. Ball for a Mo. It's Grimwis. Rodriguez. Neto Santos. Bouncing away from Arturo Rodriguez. Speaking of the aforementioned Neto Santos, he's coming off. It'll be Josh Drack in his stead. And then Jay Chapman coming into the game. Placing Allen.
Give you a little bit more legs for Jay Chapman. Pair him next to Aaron Malloy. So expect him to be more of an attacking-minded center midfielder, almost as a dual 10 with him and Arturo Rodriguez. And Josh Drack will be working up and down that left-hand side. It's a heavy touch from Elvis.
Archer down the right line. Away by Maxi Rodriguez. One change came at half for Detroit, 4 remaining. Charleston, 3 changes now, 1 at half. That was their first window, so they've got 2 subs, 2 windows. Push from behind, free kick conceded by Bryant.
You cannot afford to give this Charleston battery side any sort of look at the goal. Much like Connor Rutz, no need for Michael Bryant to go that rash into this challenge. Nick Marcanic, he's already facing away from goal. Don't need to win the ball. Move your feet, make him play negative. Your job is done. As you become a little bit overzealous, now you give Charleston battery a plethora of options. Can really test Nate Seinwasser from this distance, but also can come something from the training ground.
Was there ever a point late in the season where you started holding off some of the training ground stuff, knowing that the playoffs were coming?
I would think so, yeah, 100%.
I mean, the numbers are up on the right side. Instead, they've gone to the left. Ball across. Bryant the target. Smith went up for it. Comes high to Malloy. Malloy blocked. Skims down again. No one's going to block that. That's going to interrupt traffic on the bridge.
Simple, but can be effective as well. You change the angle in hopes to catch the opponent sleeping at the back post. But as this ball comes back across, just watch the shoulders of Nick Marcanic. Always leaning back, his balance is off, least preferred right foot. Always going to go up and over the crossbar.
60 shots this year. About half of them have ended in the net.
Yeah, you don't say that often.
No. Torres extending down the line. A little pushing, a little shoving, and a goal kick. You enjoy our superhero at halftime? He's really big in Latin America, I've been told.
It's impressive.
Red grasshopper. You know, we may or may not have coverage of great heroes in the league on SiriusXM, because if you can't watch the match, turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. It's all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app. Familiar sighting, Torres down the right. Ooh. No one ever talks about the danger of being a ball kid.
Does well to create a little bit of space. But as you shift this ball to your right foot, now it's all about your hips. You have to get the right leg around the ball. Get your hips up squared. But as they continue to stay vertical, that's why this ball ends up in the behind the goal.
Rodriguez working off the right. The inverted Torres, the target. Malloy, Torres, bad giveaway. There's not enough mustard. Job bodied off by Malloy. Play on. Job's aggrieved. Here's Malloy, stabbed away by Rodriguez. Malloy, the heavy step. Malloy getting after Morris now. Connor Rutt sent off a collision with the goalkeeper in the 57th minute, 1-0 Detroit. Snap header from Stephen Carroll in the 49th on a set piece. Into Torres. Penalty! Job called for a penalty right at the edge of the penalty area. And Charleston can pull level with 20 minutes to go. That came of nothing.
Fantastic pick out from Nick Marcanic. Picks up his head and sees this back line for Detroit retreating. So where's the space? Really clever run from Torres. I'll tell you what, there is contact, but it's really soft. That is really soft from Job. He takes a right foot of Juan David Torres out. He makes the most of it. Give credit to the attacker. Sells it, goes down. Greg Dobka points at 12 yards out.
Whoa, we got some pushing and shoving. Now, yellow cards all over the place. A yellow to a member of the Detroit bench.
Hey, thanks.
Villanueva, Carroll, and Torres are on yellows, so they should stay out of this skirmish. Carroll was in the middle of it, but trying to pull his man out of it. Greg Dobka bringing the yellows. Amu Mensah thumbs up in a smirk. He's been booked. It's 8th yellow for Amu Mensah this year, but he was not on accumulation warning. Well, there he is, Nick Marcanic. No one has scored more in a single season in the championship than he. 27. Including 5 penalties. Charleston has won their last 8 home games dating back to the beginning of June. The Chance to pull level, up a man, down a goal against Detroit. Elvis Amo just got shown a yellow out of that murky pile of frustration. Marcanic steps up. Marcanic scores number 28. And Marcanic pulls Charleston level. We've never seen anything quite like him in the championship before. 28 goals.
Fouling out, in my opinion, it's really soft from Job. There is a little bit of contact, but Greg Dobka points it 12 yards out. Only one result when Nick Marcanic steps up. Takes a little bit off of it, sends Nate Steinwasser the wrong way, goes right down the middle. And draws this thing 1-1 in the 74th minute.
Jackson Conway trots in for Charleston. As they start throwing chips into the middle, they can effectively end the conversation for the number 2 seed with a win here. And suddenly Detroit's ability to clinch, at least today, in question again. Charleston has only lost twice on home ground this year, once in the Open Cup and once in the league. They lost to Atlanta, but it was in penalties, truly a draw. The only loss they actually suffered is the weirdest plot twist that M. Night Shyamalan didn't think up. A loss to El Paso back in May.
Wilbur Cabrera's first game in charge.
Yeah, that's right. Woo, it did not change the way they thought it would change. Oh, man. That might be worthy of a little more. Job trying to get out of that, it appeared, more so than make contact with Rodriguez. That was a hugely dangerous challenge from Rodriguez, too.
Job needs to be really careful.
And Carroll needs to get out of this because he's on a yellow, too.
It's about the 3rd time now that he's gone face-to-face with the Charleston Battery player. To think of every argument as Arturo Rodriguez comes in. Awkward the way that he scissors at the end of it. Really awkward.
If you had VAR, you'd be looking at that, no?
100%. It's not the first leg, it's the second leg at the scissoring motion that follows through. See why Job is frustrated. I'm really surprised Arturo Rodriguez does not see yellow.
At least. And the way he was stumbling, right? You can understand, and conversely, you could say for Detroit, you can understand why Connor Rutz went for the ball too. But it doesn't make either of them right. Here's Rodriguez. Rodriguez lost his footing again. His studs in this grass have not gotten along of late. Actually, Rodriguez, in goes Malloy. Conway. Torres. That's easy for Steinwasser. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball, free to play. Download now. Mo shielded off by Archer. It's like watching two Transformers battle. Not saying who's the Omnibot or the Decepticon, I'm just saying. At the end of the game, they both turn into cars and drive home, I guess. Conway couldn't downshift. Villanueva. Saw Ben Pierman coming out and waving Segbers to join in on that. Hangs off Arturo Rodriguez. Crazy thing about this 8-game home winning streak for Charleston. Only one time in that run was the result a 1-goal margin. 7 of their last 8 home wins have been by multiple goals. And it was Sacramento at the start of September, a game in which they trailed, came from behind and won in the 87th minute. The only exception to that rule. So they haven't just won here, they've largely dominated here. Segbers. Torres. Balls away, Malloy coming up to try and snatch it. Chapman. Over from Drac. Down the line. Serve back, appeal for a handball. Greg Dopka says nothing to it. Amo. Couldn't hold up. Segbers.
Great ball.
Gliding over Conway. Across the face of goal at Steinwasser, stumbling backwards, but nobody was there.
We need a little bit more composure from Jackson Conway. Really clever in terms of his movement. The positioning of Arturo Rodriguez occupies Almu Mensah, so there's space going back the other way, but that's when you need him to pick up his head, and the cutback is on. Then Morris comes off, so Daniel will step in as the number 10 role underneath Elvis Amo, just to give more of an option to release some of this pressure for Detroit City.
Jasil Cedeno into the game. Acquired from Oakland, 20 games there, 3 goals and an assist. This is 10th appearance. That's back-to-back seasons in which Cedeno got flipped midway. Got swapped for Edgardo Rito with Hartford last year in June. Torres. Bodied off by Villanueva. Torres unimpeded now. Sought the give and go, back through. Rodriguez had the option to his right. Conway instead chose to go left. Like most times in which you swipe right instead of left, it's a mistake. Torres tried the back heel. Whoa there, Malloy into Rodriguez.
I have to agree with Danny Dicchio in this action from Aaron Malloy. The ball is gone. Just watch the way that he approaches it in his right leg. It's high, it's late, and it's a swiping motion. He should see yellow.
And he does. If this current set of standings were to remain as is, these sides could meet in a conference semifinal, and it has all the makings of a bloodbath.
We've seen some hard challenges through 82 minutes here.
Penalty from Marcanic, pulled it even. Enjoy them while you got them. Marcanic already sold. Six-figure sum from CD Castellón in the second division in Spain. Will go over in the winter window. Currently sit 11th in the Segunda division in Spain. Three wins, 3 losses, and a draw there, and who knows, maybe they could use a goal scorer 10 through 7 games. Well, if you think these fireworks have been a joy, we can tell you the USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Live matches, expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Majority of games on ESPN Plus. However, the linear schedule, national TV schedule for both networks is concluded for the regular season, although there's still going to be action in Spanish on TUDN, including October 9th, 4 days from now, Wednesday night, North Carolina and Tulsa. Torres trying to combine. Torres is there! Torres scores! Juan David Torres in Charleston from a goal down, went a man up, and now 2-1 ahead.
Talked about his quality, the ability to combine with the players around him, but also to go 1v1. I love how positive he is, sees the space, he takes the space, but Jackson Conway, he gives you that focal point. As he does not come to feet, he just stays a little bit away, so now Stephen Carroll can now close the space as well. It's a heavy touch, falls kindly to the left foot of Juan David Torres. And as an attacking player, you always have eyes for that far post. Wrong foot's Nate Steinwasser, no chance for the goalkeeper. And Charleston Battery take the lead here deep into the second half.
84th minute. After the 73rd minute equalizer. That dazzling play brought to you by Diamonds Direct. And Charleston pulls ahead against Detroit. This is a huge lifeline as it pertains to the 3 seed for Tampa Bay, who will have 2 games in hand going into their match tonight. Ball lobbed along, and Mo chasing. Not the best work from Grinwis, but the offside flag lets him off the hook. This means Louisville, if this scoreline holds, would need to win against Indy to take the Players' Shield tonight. Otherwise, they'd have to wait till next week when Charleston plays at Pittsburgh and Louisville hosts Tampa Bay. Ultimately, they just need to see 3 points, that magic number, either gained by Louisville or dropped by Charleston, because Louisville, on goal difference, holds the single season series in their favor. All the while, Detroit, once they took the lead at clinching a playoff berth on their bingo card tonight, if Loudoun or Hartford produced a winner, and instead they've ceded potentially all 3 of the points. Very limited amount of time to turn this thing back around. Laurent Kissédou set to come in for Detroit. Featured prominently for Ben Pierman in Memphis. 3 years there before a trip to the Czech First Division. Pardubice, 14 games in the Czech Republic before coming back to the USL, playing here with Detroit. Rodriguez. Header up top, and the wrong hit from Williams, although he's shown that club in his bag. Kisiadu coming on now. Still another sub and another moment remain for Detroit. This is Lai Job coming off.
Number 8, Abdullah. Number 17, Darren Isidro coming in.
That's the thing about Charleston, right? You think you've got them pinned. Not the cleanest game on their part in the early going, and yet you look back, the red card certainly changed things, but a more energetic second half, especially after conceding the goal. Suddenly 2-1 up and in position to grab the number 2 seed with both hands.
I think you look at this match, if you are Ben Pierman, you learn a lot from your side. Coming off, not having a game on the prior weekend. So there's always going to be a little bit of rust, that little bit of maybe fatigue and lazy factor that comes in. But first half certainly wasn't your best performance. But you still find a way to score goals and claw yourself back into this game. And that's a sign of a really good team. Not playing your best, but you still understand how to deal with adversity, how to deal with everything that Detroit City has thrown against you, because it's not easy to play against a side that's down to 10 men, more of a defensive type of approach. Interesting ball from Grinwis there. Just so many weapons for Detroit City. You talked about Nick Marcanic, MD Myers, but Juan David Torres as well. All the players on the front line, no need for Maxi there.
Yeah, that's a yellow. That's the kind of statement that you make knowing that you're probably going to see this team again.
Just notice how late he comes in. The ball's gone. Little drop with his shoulder, the hip check from Maxi Rodriguez. A little bit of retaliation for Aaron Malloy. Caught him earlier.
Yeah. Yep. Stoppage time presented by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. 7 added minutes. Another 7 minutes with this. I think we're going to need MUSC Health Sports Medicine.
Injury time is sponsored by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. Don't let an injury hurt your game. Go to MUSC Health.
Grimace from Arturo Rodriguez. The ref saying he's coming off. He needs to meander a little faster. Cedeno's just trying to offer a helping hand, he's saying. This will be the final sub for the battery. Prince Sadie for Arturo Rodriguez. Busy performance from Arturo. Well, you can bet we're going to 98. Maxi Rodriguez, Archer, had some work to do there. Spun around off the bounce. This is set to be just the second defeat in 12 for Detroit City. They fail to pull this out. One of the hottest teams in the league and certainly the most difficult to beat the second half of the season.
Number 7, Prince Saidi.
Offside, self-inflicted. Amumensa. Conway pushing and shoving his way into the frame. Kisiadu, give it go. Kisiadu went for goal and scored. Oh, that is a remarkable goal. Detroit equalize in stoppage time. Wow, what a hit. 2-2 in Charleston. His first goal for Detroit City.
It starts with the extra effort from every single player in a Detroit City jersey. We talked about Elvis Samoa as well, the ability to pin back his individual marker and let the play develop. As he holds off Leland Archer, he cannot step, so Kisianu has a nice little pocket of space. Right foot, left foot, quality through and through. Low and hard always gives you a chance. No chance for Grinwis in front of the traffic. Sees it late. 2-2, 94th minute.
And a little payback to his former manager, I suppose, as well. Kisiadu, some of his best ball under Ben Pierman and one of his best goals against Ben Pierman's battery. Laurent Kisiadu brought back in from the Czech Republic. Ben Pierman once said this guy epitomizes Memphis 901 FC when he was there coaching the young man. And the 25-year-old Ivorian offers a scintillating equalizer in stoppage time. Not that Louisville is asking for the help, but as it pertains to the Players' Shield, they would now need a win or a draw against Indy to secure that trophy for the first time in their 10-year history. For Detroit, that goal would allow them a clearer path next week to a playoff berth, but would not assure one tonight, regardless of result, between Loudoun and Hartford. Ball driven ahead. Steinwasser comes bounding over.
But it's a movement from Kisiadu. As he plays it into Elvis Samoa, everyone turns around and gets caught ball watching. Jay Chapman, Aaron Malloy, really clever as he continues his run because he knows the big man is going to lay it off into him. And then it's just pure quality in the final third. The fantastic goal to tie this game up deep into stoppage time.
Suarez frustrated. He was off. Well, if everyone manages to survive a third meeting, met already in Detroit, be a thrill to see these teams match up again. It'd be about 4 weeks away, most likely. It'd be a conference semi. They finished 2-3. Tampa Bay has something to say about that. Detroit might have to go to Louisville first, should they drop to the 4. Ball touched across and ultimately lashed at. Kisiadu was behind Amo. Probably going to get to 99, maybe 100. He had the injury that sucked about a minute of marrow out of the bone right off the bat, and then the goal. Steinwasser offering words of encouragement to somebody. And Detroit's about to do what hasn't been done since June. Take points off Charleston in Charleston. Greg Dopka looks at the watch. He stopped play to go back and check on an injured player near the halfway line. And that is Villanueva. Ricky, we're going to 100. We are absolutely going to 100. Chaplain, Colorado is like, really? Well, we've played about 5 minutes of the 7, but it says we've played 8. Angling down the line. Maybe there's something here. Sadie. Samu Mensah on skates, leans back, ball across. Long run for Torres, won't get to the ball from Chapman. Not on the first go, kept it in on the chalk. Inside to Drac. Leaves high. Malloy, that's deflected by Amo.
The wrong decision in the end from Jay Chapman. You need to be a little bit more selfish. You're about 12 to 13 yards out. A fantastic little layoff from Nick Marcanic. Just put your laces through it. Get it on target. You give yourself a chance. You try to overcomplicate it. As Villanueva makes way, and Ryan Williams will come on for the remainder of this match.
Fourth change, but third window, so this is it for Detroit. Villanueva off, Williams on. Villanueva not only just showing a cramp there late, also on a yellow. Segbers. Would you really put it past Charleston here? Drac angling in. Ball lofted across. Pulled in by Steinwasser. Sadie was waiting, and that might be enough for Detroit to take a point away. Steinwasser. This game 100. Charleston loads up again. Segbers. Malloy. Sadie splits through the legs. Sadie goes down, edge of the penalty area, out for a corner. Well, Ryan Williams absolutely had to be perfect.
And Sadie gives you the ability to be direct and vertical with his movement right through the legs of Cedeno. And I'll tell you what, that's a foul. That is a foul, but it's outside the 18-yard box.
So it would have been just a free kick. Pepperlaw from corner, header wide! That's the final whistle. Archer had the game on his head. And it is full time. Oh, this game had everything. Detroit 2, Charleston 2.
What a match. If you're Ben Pierman, you feel like you let points slip through your fingers, but what a well-earned, gritty performance for Detroit City. We split the points in the end. I think it's an even.
The Heineken man of the match is Juan David Torres. It looked like he had the winner in the 84th. But the equalizer from Kisiadu at 90+3. And Detroit, only the third team this season to siphon points off of the battery at Patriots Point in 2024.
Return to the field. Score the winning shot. Beat your personal record. Team up with MUSC Health Sports Medicine for all your sports-related injury care and rehabilitation. MUSC Health is the official sports medicine provider for your favorite local teams. From semi-pro athletes to weekend warriors, our sports medicine team provides state-of-the-art injury prevention, treatment, surgery, and rehabilitation for athletes of all ages. Go where the pros go. Schedule an appointment today.
Hola.
¿Alguna otra cerveza?
No, Michelob Ultra.
Ok, ahora vuelvo.
Here come the full-time highlights between the Battery and Detroit City. This game's simply wild. We start the second half. It's Stephen Carroll in the 49th.
It's a fantastic snap header over his left shoulder, the power that he generates, but it all comes down to winning his individual duels. But you knew this game was not going to be ended there. Starts with this transitional moments, but as Greenwich keeps it inside, and look at Connor Rutz, there's just no need. No need to try to go and win this ball. It's a clear red. Greg Dobka gets it right on. Full contact with Greenwich, and now Detroit City have to play the remainder of this game down a man. But a good joke, in my opinion, really soft. Really soft. There is a little bit of contact, but Juan David Torres makes the most of it. And then you see how frustrated Detroit City is.
And so Nick Marcanic, 27 goals, a league record. His 28th goal sets the Battery record by his lonesome.
Fantastic pen composure to take a little bit off it, to let Steinwasser dive out of the way. And just watch this positioning of Jackson Conway. It's a little bit of a heavy touch. Stephen Carroll thinks he gets fouled, but Juan David Torres quick to react, and watch how quickly he gets his hips open and simply guides it into that far post. You think the Battery win it late? You have players off the bench for Danny Deacon that can create a little bit of individual magic. You talk about the extra effort to win not one duel, but two duels. And then you lift the strength of El Samo to lee off Leland Archer. Sayadu, fantastic goal. Head down, laces through the ball. Low and hard gives you a chance. There's just too many bodies in front of Greenwich. He sees it late, kisses it off that far post. We split the points.
The full-time highlights were brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Take a look at the East standings now. Detroit will not have a chance to clinch tonight regardless of the Loudoun-Hartford result. However, they've made a 3-point gap between them and the Rowdies. They've created a 6-point gap with Indy 11, who will face Louisville tonight. Louisville now just has to match the result. Draw or better, they win the Shield tonight.
I think you look at Detroit City and Danny Dichio, now it's a mental game, right? You understand you can go into Charleston Battery, you can go into one of these most hostile environments in all of USL Championship and grind out a result. I do think it was a fantastic match of football through 100 minutes here this afternoon.
And that's it tonight in Charleston, South Carolina. This was some kind of physical matchup. Charleston and Detroit finished 2-2. The final score is brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing. For Ricky Lopez Espin and our entire team in Charleston, beyond Mike Watts, saying thanks for watching. Detroit the early lead, the late equalizer. Charleston thought they had it won. Will settle for the point. So long for now.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.